Hi, Claire and James here. Just before we get stuck into this week's episode, we wanted to let you know the exciting news that the Midlife Reset audit is now live. This is a first of its kind personalised diagnostic tool designed for midlifers by midlifers.
In just 3 minutes, the audit will help you pinpoint what's really holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife, and most importantly, provide tailored strategies on how to take back control. Midlife doesn't have to be a time of uncertainty. It can be an era of growth, discovery, and well-being. So to go ahead and take the audit, go to themidlifementors.com/audit. It can be all too easy to fall into negative thoughts, and once we're there, it can feel hard to move through them as we over-catastrophize and start imagining the worst-case scenario. If we're not careful, our negative thought patterns can become a self-perpetuating habit. So how do we shift these thoughts to a more positive place and bring ourselves the peace we deserve?
In this episode, we share 7 practical tips for shifting negative thought patterns that you can start to apply straight away, and we hope you find it useful.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. I'm going to be completely honest, we're a day late sending this out today.
We are a day late, aren't we?
We normally send it out on a Saturday, but it's a Sunday.
It's been actually the last few weeks, Claire. I've got to say, it's been those ones. I think you actually finished a coaching call on Tuesday evening by going, "Have a great weekend."
I did.
But that's how the last few weeks have rolled. You get to Wednesday and you're like, how is it not Friday already? It's just been feeling quite full on.
I don't know what that says about where we're at in life right now, but I did actually end a coaching call. If you're listening, my coaching client, I did actually finish my coaching call on Tuesday evening by saying, "Have a good weekend." Only for her to look puzzled and say, "Claire, it's only Tuesday." But it does feel like it's been pretty relentless and ongoing, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
I don't know why, really. We've been busy, but it's not, I don't know what's going on. Some weird thing with time is going on.
Yes, definitely.
But we're good. What have we been up to? You're about to do your men's course starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow, I've got a group of guys signed up. I'm so excited for this, Claire. I can't wait to share this knowledge all around, what's going on for men at midlife with their testosterone levels, how that can be impacting them, not just physically, which people are aware of, but kind of emotionally, psychologically as well, and give people all those useful tips and tricks. So yeah, really excited to be running that next week.
Yeah, it is really, really important. Any women that are listening as well, so it's not just for the men listening that can actively get involved in this. It's actually us women really need to support the men in our life as well. So if you do know anyone that would benefit from this or working with James, I know it's a little bit last minute now because it starts tomorrow, but this is going to go out. It's probably still not too late to sign up. James was still welcome, I'm sure, anyone that wants to rock up now. But ladies, if you do know any men in your life, I know it's a lot more difficult for men to share how they're feeling. This is why the stats around midlife men's mental health are so alarming. They do find it a lot harder to share how they're feeling and what's going on for them. So ladies, if you do recognise a man in your life struggling, maybe put him in touch with James, because it's going to be extraordinary what James is going to be sharing with them. So
excited. I've been getting all the resources together yesterday and this morning while you were out swimming on Hampstead Heath.
Yeah. I was out with my alcohol-free group, which was just amazing. And 14 of us rocked up, went swimming together. Then we've just been for brunch, which is why my voice sounds a little bit hoarse. Or sexy, maybe. We could say sexy. You can imagine I have not stopped talking. It's been really amazing.
I can imagine you haven't stopped talking.
Yeah, as you can imagine, I've not stopped talking. But it's been really amazing. It's lovely to connect with like-minded people. So if anyone's listening, I know some of you guys listen to in my group listen to this. So it's been a pleasure to spend this morning with you. Anyway, let's dive into what we're going to be talking about on this podcast, shall we? Which is 7 tips to shift negative thought patterns, because we all experience it.
We do. We all get those negative thought patterns, and it's quite interesting. The research shows that the more we allow those thought patterns in, the more they become ingrained. It becomes like a self-perpetuating engine in a way. So we want to learn to identify when it's happening to it and find ways to shift it and change it. So this is like 7 tips you can apply to really help shift those negative thoughts.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We do know, we've spoken about this so much. I know James is going to be talking about this on his course next week. But the hormonal changes that we are experiencing do mean actually that we, men and women, are going to be experiencing more negative thought patterns actually, because it does change our psychology. When our hormones change, it does change how we feel emotionally. So it's really, really good to have some of these things in your toolkit. We're very much about strategies, toolkits for life. So just having this conversation, just knowing that you're not alone. If you are experiencing negative thought patterns, you're thinking, where the hell have they come from? Why am I experiencing those so much more? Obviously, that hormonal stuff that's going on for us at midlife is making that happen for you. But what we want to do is give you some really actionable tips that you can use to start helping you move through this.
Exactly. I mean, I'm tempted to jump to one of the last tips on here.
Yeah,
actually, because I think
it
is probably the one that has the biggest impact for people at our age, which is feeling a need to stay plugged into the world and what's happening. We've obviously got an election coming up here. We know there's US elections coming up. There's all kinds of court cases in the US. There's a war in Ukraine. There's a war in Gaza.
Crazy times.
It's crazy times. There's a lot of bad news out there. So I think the first tip I'm going to go to is start to curate your environment. And by that, I mean, just be mindful about what you're feeding yourself in terms of intellectually, right? Do you need to watch all the news all the time? Can you unplug from social media a bit more than you are? Social media is terrible. There's, so much research coming out now about how it drives levels of anxiety and all the rest of it. So I'd say that the first biggest one, really, if you are finding yourself these negative thought patterns, is what around you could be feeding that, what external factors could be feeding that, and then see what you can do to remove or moderate some of those. So, the news, your social media, people in your circle that are negative, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, and here's the thing, no one else can do that for you. It is your responsibility. So it's actually, I suppose, becoming aware of how much time you're spending on those things in your environment that aren't serving your mental health. Just becoming aware of that is the most powerful thing. Start making a note of how long you've spent scrolling on your iPhone. Whenever you're bored, what you do, you pick up your iPhone. How much news you're watching, what you're reading in the newspapers, all that kind of stuff. Just become aware of that, and we can kind of promise you, most of us will be very, very surprised at how much time we're wasting on that negativity and that fear, like this constant fear being fed at us.
And I'd say also add to that, this is stuff that will kind of trigger our fear, but we actually have no control over anyway. So it's actually in a way, it's good to keep yourself informed, but it's pointless from a I guess survival perspective, because you can't really influence it one way or the other. No,
exactly. So become aware of it and start taking responsibility for it, because it's only you that can change it. The next one is challenge your thoughts. Okay, so this becomes a skill. This is not something that we can necessarily do straight away, but I just want you to, next time you start feeling anxious, depressed, all these thoughts start coming up in your mind, just write some of them down. The most powerful thing we can ever do is get them out of our head. So at the moment, they're just wish-washing around your head. A really, really powerful tool is just to scribe, to get them down on a piece of paper. That way we actually take the power out of those thoughts, because we can feel very, very part of it, if that makes sense. We can feel really, really invested in it, which is just going round and round our heads. Once we put it down on paper, it's really, really powerful to see it for what it is. So actually just taking some of those thoughts and asking yourself, is it true? So challenge those thoughts. Is what I'm saying there on that piece of paper, the thoughts going around my head, the beliefs that are going around my head, is it really true? And what am I basing that on? Most of the time we'll actually come out and say, no, that's not really true. That thought that I'm thinking isn't necessarily completely black and white. It's not true. And then what would I prefer to think instead? What would I prefer to think instead? So ask yourself, when those thoughts come up next time, get them out on a piece of paper, just brain dump, and then ask yourself, are those thoughts really true? And what would I like to believe instead? It's just a really, really powerful way of becoming more self-aware, more compassionate with yourselves, and just shifting the focus.
Yeah, and I'd say, actually, I'm just thinking about this as you speak. For me, and maybe this is just me with my ADHD, but there's two sides to it. It's almost like the kind of logical side where you've got the problem or the issue that's giving you the negative thoughts. And so you shift your focus to thinking, okay, well, how could it go differently? How could it have a more positive outcome is one way. But sometimes, like if I'm lying in bed at night, I find it just shift my focus to something completely different really helps. So I'll just tell a different story. I'll actually make up a different story about something completely different. And this isn't abdicating responsibility. You know, the issue's still there to be dealt with, but that moment in time, it's giving me that space that I need.
Yeah, and I think that's come because we were discussing these tips before and we had a few more. Like that is about shifting the focus, isn't it? Sometimes it's really, really helpful when you're really in that moment of negativity, just shifting to doing something completely different. It might be going out for a walk. It might be going out and meeting a friend for a coffee. It might be phoning a friend. It could be anything, just to shift that focus away from getting really, really spiraled out of control in that loop of negativity. So yeah, I suppose that's two in one, really, challenging those thoughts, but also shifting the focus.
The next one is don't focus on the negative. And this is so easy to, you know, as human beings, we're hardwired for this. We always look for the negatives in life, the worst possible outcome, because that's what's kept us alive as a species. You know, okay, what's the downside of doing that? Okay, I won't do it. It's being risk averse, which is great for survival, maybe not so great for personal growth. So if you find yourself in this negative area, just become aware of it first of all. We're aware that, okay, I'm getting into a negative spiral here. Maybe instead, write down positive things that have happened to you that day. Because they're things that we kind of maybe take for granted, allow us to pass by. If you actually stop and think though, oh, what good things actually happened? And that can be a really powerful exercise as well.
Yeah, well, gratitude and kind of like anxiety and depression are two opposing states. So if we're able to focus more on the positive, more able to look at what we're grateful for in life, we actually can't be at that moment in time anxious or depressed because they're two opposing states. So really getting into that place of gratitude, of thankfulness for what we do have rather than what we don't have is like, honestly, it's magic. It's magic being able to do that. The next thing is positive affirmations. Now, I'm all for positive affirmations. We need to do a lot of the other work as well. It's not like you're just going to be able to say, I am healthy or I am wealthy and I am a good person, all these sorts of things. And suddenly you're just going to believe that is true. What the positive affirmations are really, really good for kind of stacking upon the actions that we're taking. So, for example, we need to kind of do the positive affirmations and make those statements about ourselves that are going to help shift our negative thought patterns. But we also need to take the action as well at the same time. So we can't just say those positive affirmations and suddenly think that we're going to feel better. We also need to align that to action. But positive affirmations are really, really helpful to start building that self-resilience, that self-belief. When you find yourself saying a lot of negative things to yourself, it could be things, you know, like, I am useless at public speaking. I am demotivated when it comes to exercising. Actually switching those into positive affirmations. It's a little bit, like I said before, what would I like to believe instead? Instead of believing that I am demotivated when it comes to exercise, you know, you might want to have a positive affirmation that's the opposite of that, which is, I am becoming more motivated when it comes to my exercise. That's a much more positive way of speaking to yourself rather than the negative that's going round and round your head. So just have a look at the things that might be going around your head that are negative and actually position them in a positive way. So positive affirmations, and start really reinforcing those every single day. They can actually help rewire our brain, the neural pathways in our brain, when we keep speaking those positive affirmations that are aligned with positive action as well.
The next one is don't neglect your physical. And I think this is so overlooked, right?
Overlooked.
For kind of negative thoughts and anxiety and depression. Because, as human beings, we are designed to be up and outside and moving. It's only in the last couple of 100 years we've become, interior dwellers, locked down to desks and cubicles.
Interior dwellers.
Yeah.
I love that.
We had to go out and find our food, or go out to the market, or, work the fields. So there's that side of it, which I think is important for almost our psyche, our spiritual well-being. There's also, we know exercise will release feel-good endorphins, that will give us that lift in mood. I mean, I saw a great meme the other day. It was like two polar bears going, "Hey, do you want to play human?" And they're like, "Yeah." And so one just goes into a house and leans out the window going, "I am so depressed. I spend all day in here. I'm so depressed." And it's true, right? Maybe like we're feeling down or feeling negative because our lifestyle isn't suiting us. If you're like, you get the alarm goes off, you dread the alarm goes off, it goes off, you go to work on a packed bus or train or drive, you sit at a cubicle all day doing stuff that doesn't fulfill you, you come home knackered and go to bed, rinse and repeat. Is it any any wonder that you might have negative thoughts? So just look, that's a bigger question about changing your lifestyle, but don't neglect the physical, right? If you're finding it very sedentary, start to move your body more. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym. It could be just getting outside, doing a 15-minute walk every day. But move that body, celebrate that body, get back in touch with your physical, and that will help lift your mood and help shift the negativity as well.
It's honestly so overlooked, that one, like when it comes to low mood and depression and anxiety. It really is. The next one is create a routine. So often when we feel down and low, everything kind of goes out the window. We might find that we just feel very, very lost, that there isn't any structure, that there's no routine, there's no discipline actually in our life. And discipline has negative connotations, I think, but it's actually really, really empowering when we can use it to better ourselves and to regain control. And I think when it comes to routine, our subconscious mind, it loves routine. Subconscious mind loves safety. It loves the familiar. And so what we can do to make ourselves feel safer is to give our subconscious mind routine and structure. That way we will become less anxious, we'll be less down, we'll feel better about ourselves. We feel like we've accomplished something, that we're kind of moving towards a goal. And that really does come down to that being disciplined around a routine. So what I would say is get some structure in your life that is healthy, some really healthy habits. Get that routine dialed into your life, because honestly, it will make you feel so much better. It could be exercise, it could be doing morning rituals, it could be doing a gratitude list. It's anything to, when we're in a high stress situation, a lot of that stuff kind of goes out the window and unhealthy habits come in. If we can start building that routine of healthy habits back into our life, we will feel stronger and more resilient for sure.
The next one is one I think is also overlooked. How much time are you taking out for you? Where's your recovery time? Where's your decompression time? In modern life, we have these to-do lists and we lurch from thing to thing to thing. And then when we do so, often we're just knackered, right? So we just do nothing, which is fine. That's cool. But what about your planned decompression time, your planned recovery time? If you're never getting that, if you're never getting that balance, then of course it's going to be easy to spiral more into negative spaces. So think about that. Where's your time for you? What do you love doing? What lights you up? When are you going to do it? How are you going to prioritize doing it? Just make sure you are taking that time out for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading a great book at the moment called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And we're in a world now, 2007 was when we got Facebook, when we got our smartphones. And since then, all we've been is just busy, completely distracted all the time. And actually, this lack of time for ourselves, has really disconnected us from our own sense of self, our own self-identity, connection with our soul, our reason for being here, our meaning of life. So we're constantly distracted. We're constantly picking up our phones. When we're bored, we pick up our phones. When we're stressed, we're picking up our phones. Anything like kind of distract ourselves. And we've forgotten how to sit with ourselves, to just be in a place of non-hurry. And I know some of you will be like, I've got no time for that. What are you talking about? I've got kids, I've got a job, I've got relationships, I've got family, I've got friends. Here's the thing. I'd love you to look at your life, look at how much time, kind of goes back to what we were saying before, how much time you are spending on nonsense, actually, because there is so much nonsense in our life right now that we all think is just normal. But like, going through social media, looking at cats on YouTube videos, cats with, like dancing with a hat on, just all this absolute rubbish where we get sucked into this digital world. Like, how much time are you spending on that where you're not being present with your family, where you're not being present for your job and focusing on your job, where you're just numbing out, whether you're just being distracted from yourself? Look at that time, be really honest with yourself and think about what you could do to really center yourself in those times instead. What could you do to really connect with yourself, to do more things that are healthy, that bring you more joy, that don't keep switching you off into the digital world? So I think that's a really, really important thing, is just how easy it is to just constantly be busy, constantly be in a hurry, and really realizing what that's doing to our soul and our own self-identity and our own purpose and meaning in life. It's really important.
So I hope that you find that helpful. That's how to shift your negative thought patterns. We all need that from time to time. Some really actionable tips there that you can use and apply straight away. If you're struggling with this, then don't be afraid to reach out to us, team at Midlife Mentors. Also, I just want to announce, we put a shout out on a podcast I think a few weeks ago, going, we want to do more events, more public speaking, more workshops. Now, since then, we've been booked for work with a charity and with a multinational oil company, actually, energy company. So that's great. Keep it coming. Also, we'd love to hear from you. What would you like us to talk about? What are the topics you'd like to hear more from us?
Yeah, what do you find confusing? It's a crazy old world out there with lots of mixed messages, lots of overwhelming information. What would you like us, that no-nonsense approach that we're known for, what would you like us to help you with, to help, navigate? This is all for you guys. Like, we really, really mean this. We've been doing this. This is 4 and a bit years now of the Midlife Mentors podcast. We still absolutely love doing it. We love serving you. We love helping you feel like you're not alone, helping to educate you, sharing our passion and our knowledge with you. So do let us know what that looks like for you. And as always, only if you haven't done the audit, do make sure you're doing it. I know we mentioned that at the beginning and the end of our podcast, but we're getting lots and lots of people doing that now and getting great results from it, and it really giving them lots of amazing insights. So we're sending you lots and lots of love, and take care and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And don't forget to take the Midlife Reset Audit now to receive personalised insights into what's holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife. So go ahead and take the audit now at themidlifementors.com/audit.